All right, I think we're ready to get started here. So I do apologize for being a couple minutes late here. We just had some final last-minute finishing touches we had to get set up for the webinar today. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. Just let me know if you're having any issues with the audio. Also, the screen should be showing on there the Cougar Mountain Denali Special Webinar Inventory Lot Tracking for May 7th, 2014. So welcome to the webinar today. We're going to be doing a special webinar today to discuss the new lot tracking feature in the Denali inventory module. And with that, we'll go ahead and get started. If you have any questions or any comments that you want to make during the webinar, just go ahead and type your questions in the chat, and we'll get to those questions at the end of our webinar here as much as we can before we run out of time. So with that, the webinar is going to run for about 30 minutes. We're going to do about 15 to 20 minutes of presentation, and then the last 10 to 15 minutes for answering your questions. There may be a lot of questions on this webinar, so I'll try to get to as many as I can before I run out of time. If we run out of time before all of your questions are answered, then be sure to check the website. We'll go ahead and post the remaining answers to all of your questions on our website. All right, and my name is Jeremy Beislein. I am a systems trainer here at Cougar Mountain Software, and I'll be your presenter today, going over the different features that are available in the Denali webinar, or the Denali inventory. Today's topics, we're going to be going over how to set up inventory items with lot numbers, to basically use the lot numbers for the items. We're going to talk about the differences between lot numbers and serial numbers. There's two different types of tracking there in inventory. We have lot number tracking and serial number tracking. Then we'll go over how lot numbers are actually used in the transactions as you enter transactions and post them through. And then we'll wrap it up with the way the lot numbers appear in the different inventory reports, and to help track the items with the different lot numbers. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started here. Okay, so let's see, actually what I want is inventory here. There we go. All right, so with the Denali 4.0, basically it's real simple. You'll notice when you set up new inventory items, you've got a new option here for lot numbered. It's real simple. If you want to track an item using a lot number to track the item, you just simply check the box when you're setting up the item. Couple of things to keep in mind. Existing items that you have in the system, you cannot change this option if you have a quantity on hand. For example, I'll bring up an item here and show you what we're talking about here. So we'll bring up just our first item here. This item has 515 on hand, so if we edit the item, it does not allow me to change this particular item for lot number tracking. In order to fix that, you would have to enter a transaction to change the quantity on hand to 0, then you can turn on the lot number tracking for an existing item, and then you can update the quantity on hand with a new transaction. That's going to be the only option we have there for that. That way, when you update the quantity on hand, it allows you to assign the lot numbers to the quantity on hand with the new transaction. However, if you're setting up new items, you can always check this box here to track this particular item into a lot number. So with that, let's go ahead and punch in a new item here. I've got an item here we're going to use. Inventory code is going to be access. You put the inventory code in for the item, and what we are entering here is Spry Lemon Mint. Did I spell lemon right? I think there's only one M in lemon. Okay, and you put all of your inventory information in as needed for this item. Location, if you're using multi-location inventory, you would need to put in a location code. Since we're not using it in this demonstration, the location is optional, primary vendor is optional. We're going to use lot numbers for this item. We're going to sell this under a margin. Set that at 49.9% margin. Last cost I'm going to put is $250 just so I can get a price in there. sales info is going to be 4,000 for our sales account, and we save. Now we've just set up a new item to track lot numbers. That's basically all it is to it. When you're setting up your items to track lot numbers, you just set up the item and you just check the box. Since the item has a 0 quantity on hand, we can come in here and uncheck lot numbers if we want, or check it to track it with lot numbers. Anytime your quantity on hand reaches 0, you can add the feature or turn the feature off in lot numbers. Now quickly, while we're setting this up, the difference between lot numbers and serial numbers. You can track it serialized or lot number, but you cannot do both. With Cougar Mountain Denali inventory, you have one or the other. You can do lot numbers or serial numbers, but not both. Now the difference is serial numbers is if you want to track each unit with its own unique number. The special uses for serial numbers would be like for items that have a warranty. So if you want to track the warranty item, it comes in handy for electronics, appliances, things like that. If you're a store that sells anything that you want to track specifically each individual item, you would want to use the serialized system. Now, of course, serialized numbers have always been an option in Cougar Mountain Denali inventory. But if you're going to use lot numbers, that's not quite as specific. You can attach a group of items into the same lot number. It's a group of this item, like say you get a shipment of 100 quantity all in the same lot, you can put 100 of this item into one lot number, or however many you need to for that lot. Lot numbers are very useful for tracking items as they come in, as you receive them in purchase order. If you want to track each shipment coming in its own separate lot for this item, then that's where lot numbers come in handy. A good example would be to use lot numbers would be for like if you're a food store that sells food items that have expiration date on them. You can track the items in lot numbers. Lot numbers also have that feature where you can add the expiration date to them, which I'll show you here in just a moment when we get into the transactions. A lot of times your food manufacturers too, or any manufacturer for that matter, might assign a lot number to the item when it's manufactured. And you can use that same lot number here in Cougar Mountain Denali inventory to track that particular lot number. That's very useful if you have a manufacturer recall and they're recalling based on a specific lot number. You can use the lot number to track those items just in case you get that if you ever run into that. Lot numbers are also handy for like vitamins, medications. If you're a pharmacy or a drugstore, you can use lot numbers to track medications. You can use them for just about anything specific for when you're tracking like a certain shipment of items that come in. So with that, we've got our item now set up in inventory. That's basically all you do. You just basically enter the item and check the lot number tracking option, and now going forward, anytime you do anything with that item, it will open up the option for the lot number. So we're going to start out by showing you how that all works. We've got the item entered into our inventory, so now we're going to receive the items through purchase order. This is one way to track it. So we're going to throw a vendor on here. Let's see, this item here is going to be Harris Office Supplies. This is where we get our lemon mints from, is Harris Office Supplies. So we'll put that in there. And there's our item we just created. Let's say we're going to order 100 of them. Now in the ordering process, we don't know what the lot number is yet because we're just ordering the items. So we just created a purchase order and we submitted that to Harris Office Supply. Okay, so now going through the standard purchase order receiving process, entering and receiving purchase orders, now we're going to receive the items. Okay, here we are. The shipment just came in from Harris Office Supply, and in this shipment we've got 100 units of the lemon mints that we just ordered. So let's retrieve our PO here. It's going to be this one here. Actually, I think it's this one here, 114. There we go. There it is. That's our lemon mints there. We're going to receive 100 of those. Now what happens here, since this is a lot number tracking item, just like with serial numbers, when you receive an item in purchase order, now it's asking you what is the lot number for this item. With serial numbers, you would have to enter 100 separate serial numbers because each unit has its own unique number. But with lot numbers, we can put all 100 into the same lot number. For example, this is going to be lot number 101. That's a good lot number to start with. You can assign it whatever you want. Or if the manufacturer has a lot number, for example, this item I'm looking at here, this particular item has a lot number of 13527 from the manufacturer. But what if your shipment has more than one lot number from the manufacturer? You can do that with the lot number tracking. We received 100 of these items, but 38 of them came from this lot number. So now we've got another lot number, 13528. The other 62 came from that lot number. And look at this, we got an expiration date. You can enter an expiration date for these as well. If this is a food item, if it's breath mints, it might be. Let's say this one expires 11/30/2014, but this lot number doesn't expire till 12/31/2014. So now you've got an expiration that you can track for these items we're receiving here. You just enter the expiration date, enter the quantity received in each lot, and when you select that, it puts in the lot numbers and how many for each lot listed underneath the total here. And of course, this will complete this purchase order. We're going to have to put an invoice number here. So let's go invoice number 050714-02. That works. We'll save that. All right, so that updates all of our information there. Now we can, if you want to go through the steps of printing labels, looking at the edit report, that's fine there, just like your regular purchase order processing there. But we're going to go ahead and post this transaction here so that you can see what it does to the item. All right, so we've got our receiving report. We don't need to look at that because we're kind of in a hurry, but I want to show you the inventory report here, the posting report. We received 100 items. 38 of those items are from lot number 13527, 62 from lot number 13528 as we enter them here. So there's your posting inventory posting report. And then you've got your other posting reports as well, accounts payable for the vendor, general ledger for our debits and credits. Now with that posted, we go back to our item here. And we now have a quantity on hand of 100. If you look at the cost quantity, it shows two separate items because it separates the lot numbers out in your cost quantity tab, just like it would serial numbers if it was a serialized system. But you've got more than one quantity for each number because with lot numbers you can do that. And we have the lot expiration date listed here as well, as you can see. This one expires 11/30, this one 12/31. All right, so that's how you track lot numbers. The tracking also works in sales. Now if we sell the item, we're going to do a cash sale here of this item. This is in point of sale, by the way. This also works in order entry as well. There it is. Log into our register here, and we're going to sell this to a cash customer, so we won't need to put in a customer here. We're going to sell our item. Our customer here, they're going to buy 3 of these. And they sell for $4.99 based on our margin markup we have set up in the inventory. Now, it's asking, okay, we're selling 3 of them. Which lot number are we going to sell these 3 items from? And so on the item itself, if it's a manufacturer's lot number, it's usually printed. You can select the lot number here. Looks like all 3 of these are going to be purchased from this lot number here. You can also separate it out. If the customer is buying 2 from this lot number and 1 from this lot number, you can do it that way as well. So now we got 2 from lot number 13527, 1 from lot number 13528. When you're selling the items, you cannot create new lot numbers for the selling of the items because that reduces the inventory. So it's asking you, what lot numbers are we pulling from inventory on this sale? As we can see there, we do that. Okay, the customer gave me a $20 bill for this sale, so we'll save that. And we got $3.91 change due. Now we post the report. We got to balance our register first before we can post. So we'll go ahead and post this one, and I'll show you how that tracks in law. We're going to just do a quick count here. 16609. With that, everything's balanced. And we can now post the sale transactions. Okay, so here's our posting reports. I want to show you the inventory posting. So as you can see here, our inventory posting, we sold 3, but 2 of them came from lot number 13527. The third one came from lot number 13528. This is so those are the reduction in inventory quantity from the various lot numbers that they came from there. So that's our inventory posting, and then there's our report totals, a grand total of 3. Total cost there. All right, accounts payable for sales tax and general ledger. All right, now when you go to your item here, you look at the cost quantity for this particular item that we're working with, and you now have 36 in lot 13527 instead of the 38 we had before, and we only have 61 left in lot 13528 instead of the 62. When you look at your history report, you'll see the transactions there posted in the history. When you look at the history tab there. And it does a separate line item in the history posting for each lot number so that it can keep those lot numbers tracking separate for you. All right, same thing when you're in accounts payable. If you use accounts payable to receive items rather than purchase order, it will do the same thing. It'll ask you for a lot number when you're entering the items on the accounts payable invoice, just like it did in purchase order there. So with that, that's pretty much the functionality of the lot number tracking there for you. But with inventory, with lot numbers, you've got various reports that show the lot numbers. One of the reports is the on-hand report. So if we run an on-hand report, I'm just going to do the 2 stock items that we're using lot numbers for. I've got 2 of them set up here. We got the lemon and the cinnamon ones set up here. This will show us an on-hand report of these stock items here with the lot numbers. So as you can see with our stock item, the lemon mints, we've got 2 different lot numbers, and this is the quantity we have on hand in each of those lots. And then we have a total quantity of the item, of all the lots for that item. You go down to the next section, there's our next inventory item. We have 90 of the cinnamon mints on hand, 65 of them in lot number 1002, 25 in lot number 1001. That's available there. Okay. Another report that shows the lot numbers is our lot expiration report. This is actually a new report in Denali 4.0. This right here just shows us all of the different expiration, the expiration dates for the lot numbers. As you can see here, the lot number expiration date of lot number 13527 and then 13528. It shows us how many we have on hand that's in that lot so that you can look at the expiration date to see how many items we have on hand before they expire. And this is actually a new report. It also shows you the stock value of those items as well. And this is handy if you want to double check a specific expiration date to see any items that have already expired. You may need to run that report so that you can see which items have expired, and then you can dispose of those items. Now, to dispose of an expired item, you just use the adjust stock quantities transaction here. We're going to do our cinnamon ones. They're expiring today, so if we need to dispose of those items, we would just select that there. Document number is going to be whatever you put on there for the document number. That number is up to you. And then your transaction code is a 2. We've got one set up specifically for expired inventory, And as you can see how we set up that transaction code, we set up an account in the general ledger. It's an expense account for items that expire that you have to discard. And it's basically under the cost of goods sold category there. So you can set that up however you need to based on your setup. And then we've got 90 of them that are expiring today. Ouch, that's going to hurt. So if you save that, now it's asking for the lot number. Okay, we've got 25 in lot 1, 001, and 65 in lot 1002. Now the thing about it is when you're entering inventory adjustments, it's only going to let you enter one lot number. So we're going to have to do two separate transactions, one for 1001 and then the other for 1002. Same inventory item there. It's going to be a different transaction. Transaction code is 2 expired. 65 of them here for lot 1002. And you save that there. So that'll reduce your inventory for items that are expired. Then you just go ahead and post the adjustments, and it takes those items out of your inventory because they've now expired. You had to discard them. So that would be an example of how to use lot numbers for the different inventory items, especially if you're trying to track them based on an expiration date. The expiration date is optional. You can use lot numbers for other uses as well. It's not necessarily required to use for expiration date. You can use lot numbers for several different options, such as you receive an item, but it may be a different color. You want to set up a lot number for blue instead of, you know, the standard white. You can use lot numbers for that. But you want it to be coded within the same inventory item. Just quickly, I know we're kind of jumping ahead on the questions, but I just saw in the chat George is asking about functionality for the clothing industry, such as style and size. Absolutely, George. You can use the lot numbers for that particular function as well. It's a great feature that you can use for that. So it's just basically however you want to set it up. You just basically set up your item. You just check the lot number for the item you're setting up. And then at the time of the transaction, when you're adding those items to inventory, is where you would create those lot numbers for whatever purpose or function that you're going to use them for. And then when you sell the items or reducing the inventory, you select the lot numbers already created for that item when you're selling that item from inventory. Or if you're discarding the item for whatever other reason, you would select the lot number of the item that's being taken from inventory. All right, and then your final report is your history report. Of course, the history report is going to show all of your lot number information on there as well. We're going to do just the 2 lot numbered items I've got here. And on your history report, this basically shows a detailed transaction history of each of these items here. And as you can see, the lot number is listed here for this specific transaction. And then you've got we've got your 2 lot numbers on our first transaction where we added to inventory. The second, the line numbers 3 and 4 here is the point of sale posting when we sold the items here, subtracted from inventory, as you can see there. So it's the lot number tracking will also be tracked in the history report as well. And there's some more transactions for our cinnamon mints that we did earlier when we were testing this out. Okay, so that is pretty much the functionality of lot numbers with the new lot number tracking that's available in the Denali 4.0 inventory module. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and open up the floor for questions here to see if I can answer as many of the questions as I can. I know there's probably quite a few of them here. Okay, so now you've a question here from George. He's asking, I can understand what you're trying to say here, George. You're asking about multiple parts from different form, fit, and function. Some customers prefer a particular manufacturer. Could they be put in as a lot number against a master number? If I understand what your question is, can you have different lot numbers on the inventory item number? If that's the case, then absolutely. I don't think there is an option, though, to do like sub-lot numbers against a master lot number, if that's what you're asking. At this point, that functionality is not available. Each lot number is its own separate lot number in inventory. Now, those lot numbers, you can be as creative as you need to with those. You can do like the first 3 digits of the lot number to be the same, and the last 3 digits, or however many digits you want to do to differentiate it differently. You could do it that way. But it would still be listed as a separate lot number in the inventory items. Another question here, is the costing improved in Denali over Pro, so the different lots have different costs? Basically in Denali, when you're receiving the item, you would enter the price of the item that you received it as. And yes, you can enter a different price for the different lot numbers, the different cost of what it is when you're receiving the items in purchase order. And it will track those based on lot numbers. All right, another question from George. How does this work with multi-level inventory? With multi-level, it just adds the location code to the item. Basically, what you're going to do in that case is you're going to have in the inventory master list, if you have the same item in 2 different locations, it's going to be listed as 2 separate items in the master list. Now, with the lot numbers, you'll have lot numbers for each location for each item. That's how that's going to work. So when you receive a lot numbered item and you enter the lot number, the inventory in the purchase order, it's also going to ask you which location are we receiving this item to. And you would just enter the location code at that point. And then that lot number goes to that location. Now in multi-location, you also have the transaction code 3, which transfers from one location to another. When you transfer a lot numbered item from one location to another, it will transfer the lot number along with that item. So you might transfer some items from a lot to a different location, and that's fine. It just codes that same lot number in the 2 different locations. But it's going to show them as different lot numbers based on the location, and the quantity on hand will just show what's available in that particular location for that lot number. All right, another good question is the lot expiration date sort in ascending or descending dates. On the lot expiration report, it doesn't do that at this point. It just shows it based on when the transaction was entered into the system. But I believe you can do that in the item itself. When you go to the cost quantity, you've got your expiration. You can sort it here. As you can see what I'm doing here on the item inventory stock item maintenance screen. You can check the expiration date quickly for this item in the cost quantity tab, and you can sort that out here. All right, so good question here from George. It says on a new item you may enter an invoice before the lot numbers are in. How is that handled? Basically in Cougar Mountain, when you are in purchase order, it does not allow you to invoice an item until it's been received with the lot numbers. So at the time you receive the item is when you enter the lot number in. If you're entering the invoice in accounts payable, it's going to ask you what inventory items are being invoiced, and at that point you would enter the lot number in at the invoicing in accounts payable. Of course, if you do it there, it's automatically going to add the items to inventory as well. So it works the same way in purchase order, where you receive the item first and then invoice it later. At the time you receive the item is when you enter the lot number. And then a question here from Tina. It says, could you show an example of serializing an inventory item? Serialized, basically, it's similar to lot numbers, but each item, each individual unit of the item has to have a separate number. Let me see if I've got one in here that's serialized real quickly. I don't know if, oh, there's one right there. Okay, so here's a perfect example of an item that's serialized. Computer, desktop computer. And of course, computers, you're going to want to have a serial number for each unit. The reason for that is because you might have a warranty or a service plan for this particular item to your customers. So you're going to want to track that based on the serial number. So when you go to the cost quantity, you're going to see each item is just going to have a quantity of 1, because every item has to have a specific serial number. Each quantity of the item has to have a unique serial number assigned to it to track that particular unit that was received and or sold. Same thing in purchase order. When you're receiving an item, it's going to ask you, just like it did for lot numbers, it's going to ask you for a serial number on items that are serialized. So in inventory here, did I close that? I didn't want to close that. Find our item here. There it is right there. Okay, select that. So when you order items that are serialized, you can order it from our office supply vendor there. Desktop computer, right there, we're going to select that. Let's say we order 10 of these, 10 computers from our supplier there. Okay. Now, I closed clear out of it. There we go. Now we're going to receive those items. All right, so we'll recall the purchase order we just created here. It's going to be our last one there. And we're going to receive 10 of these. Just like in lot numbers, now it's asking you for a serial number. However, we've got 10 of them, so we need 10 separate serial numbers here. With Cougar Mountain, or with Denali, you can manually enter the serial number in, such as 252141. We're just going to make one up here. You can manually enter that in, and if you type in sequential, it will automatically assign all 10 serial numbers beginning with this first number here. So when we click OK, quantity selected, 10. Quantity selected 0. I wonder why I'm getting that error. 10. It's not letting me do it. Okay. I'm running into an error here. And it resets it at 0. Okay, for serial numbers, what it should do is it should select the item here when you enter the quantity received. It should pop up the serial number. The quantity select keeps resetting to 0. I'm going to double check on it to see why it's doing that. I know on my system, my other computer, it works great. It has quantity selected as 10 based on what you enter here. The transaction quantity is 10. Quantity selected is updated to 10 there, and then it lets you put that in. So you would enter the first serial number, and it'll automatically assign the other 9. But it gives each item a separate serial number, and it tracks it by each individual unit rather than by an entire lot of units. So that's the difference between serialized and lot numbers. Again, I'm not sure why this particular unit is not letting me. I wonder if I'm working on a previous beta version here that hasn't been updated recently. So I think that must be the issue here. But that is definitely an option with the serial numbers. It will assign a serial number to each individual quantity that you receive, each item. And then you can track each unit separately that way. And then when you're selling the units, same thing. It asks you when you enter the sales, when you're selling those items, it'll ask you which serial number are we selling. So if we're selling a unit here, whether it's order entry or point of sale, it works the same. If we sell a unit here, computer, desktop, if we have a customer that's going to buy 2 of these, for example, now hopefully this one will work, then It's going to ask us, okay, these are available serial numbers of what we have on hand. Which two of these numbers are we selling? And then you would select, we're going to sell that one, and we're going to sell this one. Now we're going to add these two serial numbered items to the customer's ticket here, and it tells us what it is that they're selling so that you can keep track of each individual unit. So that's how serial numbers work. Similar to lots, but it is different because each individual unit has its own number instead of just the same number assigned to a group of units. All right, so with that, it looks like that's all of our questions there. That's pretty much the way it works with the lot number tracking, the new lot number feature that's finally been added to the Cougar Mountain Denali. I know we've had it in professional. We finally got it to Denali. So now this concludes the current series of webinars that we've been doing for payroll, and this one today was a special webinar. So any upcoming webinars, we will announce those, so keep an eye out with your email. If you have any suggestions for additional webinar trainings, go ahead and email your suggestions to our email address there, marketing@cougarmountain.com. So keep an eye out. If you have any other questions or comments, feel free to email our tech support group. You can also contact your sales rep and give us a call anytime. We're more than happy to answer any questions you may have. So with that, keep an eye out for follow-up communications for this webinar and also access to this recorded presentation. So with that, I want to thank you all for attending today, and thank you for your time today, and have a great day.